This is not the first time we're going to have this conversation. It's not the last time we're going to have this conversation. But it is the first time we're going to have this conversation at kind of a completely different angle. We've been talking about fixture congestion here for a while because, well, fixture congestion seems to have been an issue for a while. I would just like to throw out the fact that Manchester United is apparently planning a postseason tour of Malaysia that's going to make them maybe $7 million. Very exciting. Real shame that non-league clubs couldn't get FA Cup replays because of fixture congestion, but that's just so United can go and play in Malaysia instead, I guess. A spade, right? But that fixture congestion, it is endured by a select few, right? A select few that for whatever reason their body's able to put up with it a little bit better, and we are losing one of those titans. And this video, instead of being some commentary about how we should get rid of matches, which we obviously should in order to make sure that people aren't getting hurt as much, this is instead a memorial, in memoriam, whatever the conjugation of that word is in this situation, for Jesus Navas, who has retired at the age of 39. And I will throw my hands up in the air and say I did not realize the level of career Jesus Navas had. In fact, the first reason that I sat down here to talk about this is you might be looking at the calendar going, what do you mean Jesus Navas is retiring? It's December. And that's because Jesus Navas is retiring right now. Even though he's playing at Sevilla, who obviously play in La Liga and their season ends in May, he's retiring now. And I sat down to talk about how, what is this woke nonsense sort of rant about the fact that Jesus Navas should not be retiring at all. And that, the fact that he's retiring mid-season and making it all about him and this and that. But I've completely changed my tune from that because apparently Jesus Navas' contract ends in December. He's not skipping out on half of his contract. He's not surprising anybody. But the player that has played over 20 seasons at the top level with Sevilla and a few years on loan at Manchester City, his contract was ending in December, and he was worried that he wasn't going to make it there at all, which is kind of sad, honestly. The toll that this takes on people. I mean, I know he's 39 years old, and he's decided to play for over 20 seasons. Right, but the actual physical toll this takes on people. Now, the first time I entered into this thought process, this rant, it was Luis Suarez. Because Luis Suarez, it came out while he was playing in South America. He was in Uruguay, then in Brazil. That his knee issues were actually, diabolical, heinous, unbelievable. Like, he's got to start getting injections in his knee 2 days out from playing a match. 2 days! Right? This isn't tape it up, put a knee brace on, and it's a little sore the next morning. This is, doctors are legitimately worried he's not going to be able to walk in 5 years. That he's not, he already has admitted he's at a point in his life where he can't go out and, kick the ball with his kids in the backyard because it's too excruciatingly painful. And yet he continues to play at a professional level and get that kind of knee management and knee injections and those sorts of things to be able to play. Some of these guys, and it is a trait that carries them to the level that they're able to reach. Luis Suarez, Jesus Navas. And if you don't believe Jesus Navas was near that level, then then this is going to be a little education, the same sort of education that I received. Jesus Navas has 15 trophies. He won 4 trophies with Spain, including the most recent Euros and another Euros and the World Cup and the Nations League. He's won 11 trophies with Sevilla. He's played at the top level for over 20 years, and he's top 10 all time in appearances in La Liga, even though he spent those 4 years at Manchester City on loan, right? He obviously is a name you probably heard of a lot, but he was legitimately one of the top 100 players of his era, and his longevity and his consistency to be able to play at that level is a huge contributing factor. Jesus Navas was always there. He was always on the field. He repped his badge. He repped his country. He was the young, exciting, explosive player, right, in the World Cup team, and he is the old, grizzled veteran who still manages to find a way to contribute in his late 30s on a Euros winning team. To be able to play both of those roles is special. It is impressive. But the price that has to be paid in order to play for that long requires a psychotic level of determination, similar to what we're talking about with Luis Suarez. This is an actual quote from Football España. I can't take it anymore, is what Jesus Navas is saying. That's a troubling quote. All right, when you're retiring, it should be, I don't have the drive anymore. I just can't, I can't do it anymore. I want to spend Christmas with my kids or whatever, right? I want to go on vacation for longer than a week. Whatever it is. I've got a pile of millions of dollars and I am tired of playing. And it's time to retire. Or, I rolled my ankle, I blew out my ACL, I don't feel like coming all the way back from that to play. Cool. Or, I'm not as good. I don't enjoy being not as good, so I know it's time to call it quits. Not, I can't take it anymore. That's where Jesus Navas is. He said he was worried he wasn't going to be able to make it to the end of his contract in December. The reason is a debilitating chronic hip injury that Jesus Navas has battled through for years. Okay, if you're Luis Suarez, if you're Jesus Navas, you are representative of the toll it takes on a human being's body to play a top-level footballing calendar for as many years as these guys have played it. They will be affected for the rest of their lives because of how determined they were to play this number of matches. Jesus Navas and his injury here. Every game starts to be more difficult. I've been in this situation for 4 years. It's wear and tear. It's getting more and more continuous, more intense. It's complicated. When you finish a game, I haven't been able to walk for 2 or 3 days, which becomes complicated. For me, these 6 months were a very big challenge. I wanted to be with the team. I hope I can make it to December because every game starts to be more difficult. I can't take it anymore. It's a health issue. There's days where I can't be with my children. I haven't decided. That is crazy, right? And in football, soccer, when coming from the United States, is not thought of as the most physical of sports. But the wear and tear that it can exhibit on certain parts of your body, your ankles, your knees, your hips, I guess in this case, your hamstrings, your calves, right? The things in the lower half of your body that allow you to do all of this ridiculous amount of running and changing direction and just constant grinding, moving, and high intensity sprints and whatever, some physio would call it. It is incredible the kind of damage that can run up over the course of 20 years. But I have good news for Jesus Navas. I have very good news for Jesus Navas because he made it to December. And in his final match in a loss against Real Madrid, unfortunately, for Navas and Sevilla, he got a guard of honor at the Bernabeu. A guard of honor befitting somebody of the long, illustrious career that Jesus Navas had. And I hope that he can get, a hip replacement or something and be able to enjoy a good quality of life after his career. And I will miss the constant of Jesus Navas somehow managing to maintain some of his physical attributes in Football Manager while playing for Sevilla. But one of the tenured greats, one of the main faces from a generation that feels like it's already gone, has finally actually left the game. And I wish him good health. While also using the story to make an argument that playing the number of matches these guys are required to play to be at the top level is like ruinous for your body. But anybody that plays until they're 39 is at least going to be a little bit sore. So